So last month, I did something that I've never done before. I went through my entire business account and I calculated exactly how much I was making per hour for every revenue stream in my business. And I was honestly shocked. Some things I thought were making me good money were actually paying me like $10 to $20 an hour when I factored in all the time spent. But other activities, they were silently bringing in $200, $300, even $500 per hour. And if you break down the different activities in the business, at the end of the day, they're basically side hustles. And that's when it hit me. Most people are chasing the wrong side hustles. They're grinding away at gigs that can never break past a certain hourly rate, no matter how efficient they get. And today I'm going to be breaking down the 15 side hustles that are actually paying $100+ per hour in 2025. Not the theoretical, you could make this if everything goes perfectly BS that most YouTubers talk about. I'm talking about real verified side hustles that I've either done myself or have students actively making bank with right now, or I have friends, other business owners that are doing this themselves. And stick around to the end because the last one on the list is something almost nobody is talking about yet. And it's absolutely printing money for the people who know about it. Now, one of the reasons I know so much about these side hustles, besides the fact that I've done many of them myself, I have friends, other business owners that have done them as well, is the fact that I have a program called Content Growth Engine. And this is where I teach people how to build a hybrid personal brand using content. And many of my students are using the exact methods that I'm going to talk about in this video to make money. So there's so many different things that my students try to make money with, and I see which ones are successful and which ones aren't successful. And so I have access to information that most people simply don't. And I'm going to be breaking down a bunch of that insider information in this video and talk about different situations that I've seen my students in. So if you appreciate me doing this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button, and let's jump into it right now with the first side hustle, which is a mobile notary public. Now, I know what you're thinking. Shane, that sounds boring as hell. And yeah, it's not the sexiest side hustle. But let me tell you why it's on the list. As a mobile notary, you travel to people's homes, offices, or hospitals to notarize important documents. And the basic notary fee isn't much, maybe $10 to $15 per signature in a lot of states. But here's where it gets interesting. If you get your loan signing agent certification, you can notarize mortgage documents, and these pay $100 to $200 per appointment. Yeah, you heard that right. And these appointments typically take 30 to 60 minutes, putting your hourly rate at well above $100. And the startup costs are minimal. Notary commission is about $50 to $150 depending on your state. Loan signing agent certifications are around $300, and basic supplies might run you $100. Now, the person that put me on game about this was my friend Seth, who teaches people how to get into digital marketing jobs. And he told me that one of his students had a ton of success becoming a notary, and they were making thousands of dollars a month just doing this a couple extra hours a week. Now, there's multiple different types of notary positions you can get into. Mobile notaries are one of the most accessible and easiest to get into just because of the fact that you do it locally, so there's not a lot of competition, and you're mobile, so you actually go to where they are, which makes it very attractive for them. However, there's also online notaries. And although this doesn't pay as much per hour, it's going to be more steady work. Now, the demand for mobile notaries is actually increasing as more people work remotely and as online banks offer mortgages without physical branches. And it's not going to make you a millionaire, but it is a legitimate side hustle that pays extremely well per hour and has very low startup costs. So it's definitely something to look into. Now, one thing that I'll say about basically all of these side hustles is there were a few parameters that I looked into when I was making these up. One, I wanted to make sure that it was a side hustle that can't be outsourced easily. Two, I wanted to make sure it's a side hustle that isn't going to be eliminated by AI. And three, I wanted to make sure that it's a side hustle that doesn't take years of learning in order to get into. Now, by the way, guys, if you're curious about how I've grown this YouTube channel and how I make these videos so entertaining yet educational, I am going to be hosting a live YouTube training on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I basically just revealed the exact strategies that I used to grow my channel to multiple six figures per month. So that's another free training for you. And the next one on the list is going to fit all three of those criteria, and that is AI-assisted resume writing. Now, this is a perfect example of using new technology to supercharge a traditional service business. Now, you might be thinking, Shane, you just said you want these side hustles to be AI-proof, but now you're telling me to use AI to write the resumes. That doesn't make sense. Well, here's the thing. AI can do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to resume writing, but to write the best resumes, you really need to be familiar with that specific position. And your familiarity with the position is going to allow you to see if it's a good AI written resume or not, and then make changes where you need to. So here's how it works. You position yourself as a resume expert for a specific industry, or even better, a specific position. And what better position to do this with than ones that you've actually worked in? Then you use AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude to help you create customized, high-quality resumes much faster than traditional resume writers. And the key here is specialization. Don't just be a resume writer. Be a resume writer for nurses, or a resume writer for IT help desk professionals, or a resume writer for finance executives. Now, professional resume writing services typically charge $200 to $500 per resume. And with AI assistance, you can create an excellent custom resume in about 1 to 2 hours. And that includes the client consultation and revisions. And that puts your hourly rate at $100 to $250. Now, my student, we'll call him Jason, specializes in resumes for tech professionals. And he charges $350 per resume and completes 2 to 3 per week. And he does all of this while he's still working his full-time job. And that's an extra $3,000 per month for about 6 to 8 hours of work per week. Now, the demand for this service is exploding because the job market is more competitive than ever. The rise of AI tools does have people worried about getting past the applicant tracking systems, or ATS. Many companies are still laying people off in 2025, unfortunately, and the startup costs are basically zero. And you can find clients on platforms like Upwork and LinkedIn, or by creating content targeting your specific niche. And by the way, that is a massive opportunity right now, creating content for the specific career path that you're working in. I have a ton of clients that have done this. For instance, my client Nicole helps women get into cybersecurity careers. And when she first started, she got to a few $1,000s a month very quickly. And a few years later, she's absolutely crushing it, making over $85,000 a month. But she started out just by helping people with their resumes and helping people apply for jobs and simple stuff like that. All right, the next side hustle is short-term rental arbitrage. Now, I know arbitrage sounds like a very complicated word, but it's actually pretty simple. You rent a property long-term, and then you re-rent it on platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo for short-term stays. And unlike buying property, this requires minimal upfront investment. You're essentially creating a spread between what you pay in rent and what you charge for short stays. So let's break down the numbers. You rent an apartment in a desirable area for $2,000 a month. You furnish it for $5,000, a one-time investment. You list it on Airbnb for $200 a night, and if it's booked just 15 nights per month, that's $3,000. And that would be half occupancy. So after paying your rent and setting aside money for cleaning and maintenance, you're profiting $700 to $800 per month. And this is all for about 5 to 10 hours of work per month, managing the listings, responding to guests, and coordinating cleaning, which you can also just hire other people to do later on down the line. So you're making $70 to $160 an hour doing this. And my student James and his wife started off by doing this, and they've now built an entire real estate empire. Now, there are some things to consider here. You need to check if your lease and local laws allow subletting. Some markets are getting saturated, so research is essential. And you need enough cash flow to cover the rent even when bookings are slow. But if you do it right, rental arbitrage can be extremely profitable on an hourly basis, especially if you focus on markets with high tourist traffic or business travelers. All right, the next side hustle is specialized virtual assistants. And I'm not talking about being a general VA doing basic admin work for, $10 or $20 an hour. I'm talking about becoming a specialized VA who handles specific high-value tasks for businesses. A few examples of this would be a podcast management VA, Facebook ads VA, email marketing VA, customer support systems VA, webinar production VA, or a VA that helps businesses with AI. Now, the key here is you specialize in a specific skill set that businesses need, and you can easily command $50 to $100 per hour if you get good at it. And besides specializing in a specific skill, 2 other things you can do is specialize in specific businesses and then also offer a specific result instead of just your time. For instance, instead of saying, I'll manage your podcast, you say, I'll handle everything needed to get your podcast published weekly, growing your audience, and generating leads. Now, just as an example, my student Derek specializes as a tech stack VA for coaches and consultants. And he helps them set up and maintain their entire tech ecosystem, their CRM, their email platform, course delivery, payment processing, etc. And he's booked solid for 15 to 20 hours per week around his day job. And I'm guessing he's probably going to be quitting pretty soon. Now, the demand for specialized VAs is growing as more entrepreneurs realize they need expert help with specific parts of their business but they can't afford or they don't need full-time employees. They basically just need like a fractional consultant or a fractional freelancer essentially, but someone that works with them on an ongoing basis. So to get started, identify which specialized skills that you already have or you can learn easily, then create packages that solve specific problems for your target clients. And remember here, the niche you choose and the specific problem you choose is going to be key here. Now, something similar to this is going to be AI related, and that's the next one on the list, which is an AI prompt engineering service. Now, this is one of the newest side hustles on the list, but it's absolutely exploding right now. As more businesses adopt AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, and Midjourney, they're realizing that the quality of output depends entirely on the quality of input, meaning the prompts. And most business owners and even marketers don't know how to create effective prompts that generate the results that they need. And that's where you come in. As an AI prompt engineer, you create custom prompt libraries and systems for businesses to use with their AI tools. And this might include marketing copy prompts, content creation frameworks, custom service response templates, product description generators, and social media post generators. And you can easily charge $150 to $300 per hour for consulting, or $1,000 to $5,000 for custom prompt libraries, depending on the complexity and value to the business. Now, if you don't believe me, I recently hired somebody for this, and they're pretty well known. And when he quoted me his per hour charge, it was over $1,000 an hour. But he said that I can hire one of his assistants for $500 an hour. And I did. Now, one of my students, Lauren, creates AI prompt systems for real estate agents. And she charges $2,500 for a complete system that helps them generate listing descriptions, email campaigns, social media content, and more. And each system takes her 15 to 20 hours to create and customize to the real estate agent, meaning she's earning well over $100 per hour. And the best part, you don't need coding experience or technical skills. You just need to understand how to communicate effectively with AI models. And this is a skill that you can learn in weeks, not years. And the demand here is absolutely skyrocketing as businesses of all sizes rush to implement AI, but lack the expertise to use it effectively, right? So this is one of the things that I teach my students inside of Content Growth Engine how to do. I teach them how to effectively and efficiently create really good YouTube content utilizing AI as an assistant. And this allows them to make better content faster, and it doesn't take up nearly as much of their time. All right, on-demand webinar expert. Now, this is a specialized form of consulting where you're paid to deliver training webinars for companies or organizations. Now, the magic of this side hustle is that you can create a small number of signature presentations and deliver them repeatedly to different audiences, refining them over time. So if you're someone who's a good speaker, this is going to be amazing for you. So just as an example, corporate training webinars typically pay $2,000 to $5,000 for a 60 to 90 minute session, plus perhaps 2 to 3 hours of preparation and customization. And that works out to about $400 to $1,000 per hour. Now, my student David developed a webinar on AI tools for sales teams, and he delivers this webinar 2 to 3 times per month for different companies. And he charges around $3,500 per session. And each webinar requires about 4 hours of his time, including preparation, delivery, and Q&A. And that comes out to about $875 an hour. So to succeed with this approach, develop expertise in a topic that businesses are actively seeking training on, create a polished, engaging presentation, build case studies and testimonials from your first few clients, and network with decision makers who can book you. And the startup costs are minimal, and the demand for expert trainers is strong, especially in areas like technology, leadership, sales, and compliance. All right, next one on the list is going to be website flipping. And this is kind of like real estate flipping, but for digital assets. So you basically buy existing websites that are underperforming, you improve them, and then you sell them for profit. Or you buy website domains that you think are going to be more valuable in the future, you hold them for a little bit, and then you again flip them and sell them for profit. Now, the key here is finding websites with good potential, but current problems that you know how to fix, such as poor SEO, bad user experience, weak monetization strategies, outdated design, or minimal content. And website valuations typically range from 30 to 40x their monthly profit. So a website making $1,000 per month might sell for $30,000 to $40,000. And if you can buy a site for $20,000, improve it to make $2,000 per month, it's now worth $60,000 to $80,000, and you can flip it within 6 months. So you've potentially made $40,000 for perhaps 100 hours of work, and that's $400 an hour. My student Chris, for instance, bought a hiking gear review site for $15,000 that was making about $6,000 a month, and he improved the content, SEO, SEO and affiliate strategies, and he got it to $1,800 a month in revenue. Then he sold it 6 months later for $65,000. So for about 120 hours of total work, he made an hourly rate of roughly $400. And by the way, you can buy and sell these websites on a site like Flippa. So the startup costs are going to be higher for this side hustle. You need capital to buy websites, and platforms like Flippa, Empire Flippers, and Motion Invest are great places to find websites for sale. All right, the next side hustle is one of my absolute favorites, and that is high ticket coaching and consulting. And this is one of the most straightforward ways to earn $100+ per hour. You simply sell your expertise directly to clients who need it. Now, this is a little bit different than some of the other ones that I was talking about, because with those other ones, you're typically selling your time. With this one, you're going to be selling an outcome, and it's not necessarily linked to your time. Now, the key here is positioning yourself as a specialist rather than a generalist. Don't be a business consultant. Be a conversion rate optimization consultant for supplement-related e-commerce stores, or a retention strategy consultant for SaaS companies. Now, high-ticket consultants typically charge $200 to $500 per hour if they do it hourly. However, the smarter way to do it is to just simply charge for an outcome. Now, you can start off hourly if you want. That's a good way to get started. But charging for an outcome is going to be better, because then you can charge upwards of $3,000 or even over $10,000. And if you don't believe me that businesses pay for consultants, well, there are multi-billion-dollar companies called McKinsey, Bain, etc. that would disagree with you. Now, the beauty of consulting or coaching is that you probably already have the expertise that you can monetize. Just think about your professional skills, industries you've worked in, software you're proficient with, processes you've optimized, and results you've achieved. Just to give you a few examples of some of the consulting or coaching offers that my students offer, I have a student who helps people with tinnitus, a student who helps people become successful freelancers, a student who helps women get into cybersecurity roles, a student who helps people get into very specific IT roles, a student who helps people get into very specific tech sales roles within the technology industry, a student who helps French wealthy dads get in shape, a student who helps e-commerce companies optimize their pages, aka conversion rate optimization, a student that offers consulting services for small businesses that use Google Suite, a student that helps small businesses get government grants, and a student that helps people get lucrative consulting gigs at big companies such as McKinsey and Bain. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, all of these students get their clients through a hybrid personal brand where they make content on YouTube. So if you want to know how that business model works and how people are able to get so many clients through YouTube, go ahead and check out the free resource down in the description and the pinned comment below, because we go into detail on exactly how it's done and how it works there. Now, similar to that is another side hustle, which is online course creation. And I'm not talking about creating some generic course and hoping people find it on Udemy. I'm talking about creating a premium high-ticket course that solves a specific painful problem for a specific audience. Now, with this business model, the upfront work is substantial. You might spend 100 to 200 hours creating content for your course and marketing materials and a sales system. But once it's built, the hourly rate can be extraordinary. For example, if you create a course that sells for $997 and you sell just 10 copies per month, and let's say the system is largely automated and it requires 5 hours of maintenance and customer support, you're gonna be making nearly $2,000 per hour. And my student Seth created a course teaching people how to get into digital marketing, and I can definitely say that he makes far more than even $2,000 per hour with this course. Now, the keys to success with online courses are choosing a topic that you're genuinely an expert in. So Seth had already gotten a digital marketing job and he'd gotten to 6 figures in digital marketing. And so he basically was just teaching other people how they can do the same thing. Then you want to solve a specific problem with a clear, valuable outcome. Then you want to price based on value, not length or production quality. And you want to create solid marketing systems. And while the hourly rate for your ongoing time is extremely high, remember that this isn't passive income. You're amortizing your upfront creation time across future sales. Now, something that's a little easier to create is digital products, and that's the next side hustle on the list. Now, digital products are typically lower priced, more specific, and require less customer support. And these might include templates, for instance, marketing, legal, design, etc. Like a Notion template would be an example of this, if you've ever used Notion. Spreadsheet systems, prompt libraries, digital planners, preset packages, software tools, etc. So let's look at the numbers. If you create a template package that sells for $97 and you sell 50 copies per month through a mostly automated system that requires 5 hours of your time for marketing and support, you're making $970 per hour. And my student Marcus created a bundle of Notion templates for freelance designers. And he spent about 60 hours creating the package and setting up his marketing. And it sells for $129 and he averages 75 sales per month with about 8 hours of ongoing work. So that's over $1,200 per hour for his current time investment. Now, the advantage of of digital products over courses is that they're simpler to create and often have higher conversion rates due to lower price points. The downside is you typically need higher sales volume to make a substantial income. Now, like courses, the key is solving a specific problem for a specific audience and creating streamlined marketing systems. All right, next we have fractional CMO services. Now, a chief marketing officer typically commands a salary of $200,000 in many companies, but most small to medium-sized businesses can't afford or don't need a full-time CMO. Now, that's where fractional CMOs come in. You provide a high-level marketing strategy and oversight on a part-time basis. And as a fractional CMO, you might work 5 to 10 hours per month for each client, helping them develop marketing strategies, analyze results, and oversee their marketing team or contractors. And rates typically range from $150 to $300 per hour or $3,000 to $6,000 per month per client on retainer. Now, I can speak personally on this one because I recently hired a fractional CMO, Caleb, and he helps me with my marketing as well as my sales process. And I will tell you that he gets very well compensated for that. Now, the demand for fractional executives is growing rapidly as businesses look to access high-level expertise without having full-time salary commitments. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, Shane, I'm not a CMO, so why are you even telling me about this? Well, it's not just CMOs. There's lots of people that are just hiring people fractionally for many different roles. So let's just say you're an operations manager, or you're a project manager, or you're a funnel builder, or you're an IT expert. Well, you can offer yourself fractionally to other businesses a few hours a week, and you can keep your full-time job, so you can just make money on the side. And this is becoming more and more common. So especially if you already have a position like this in a bigger business, people would love to hire you, but they just can't afford to hire you full-time, or they just don't need you full-time. And so you can offer your services fractionally instead. All right, the next side hustle is lead generation websites. And this business model involves building websites that rank for local service keywords and then either selling the leads to local businesses or selling the entire lead generation site to a service provider. For example, you might create DallasTreeRemoval.com. Then you rank it for tree service keywords in Dallas, and then you rent the site to a local tree service company for $1,500 to $2,500 per month, depending on the volume and quality of leads. Or alternatively, you could sell the site outright for 30x your monthly earnings. Now, the hourly rate is extremely high because once the sites are ranking, they require minimal maintenance. And if you have 10 lead gen sites, each generating $1,500 per month, and you spend 20 hours per month maintaining them and managing client relationships, you're making $750 per hour. Now, a friend of mine, Ryan, built a portfolio of 8 lead generation sites for home services. And he spent about 6 months building and ranking them, and now they generate $14,000 per month collectively. And he spends about 15 hours per month maintaining the sites and relationships, resulting in an hourly rate of around $900 per hour. Now, the startup costs are relatively low. Domain names, hosting, and content creation. But you do need to understand SEO and local marketing. But the biggest investment is time during the initial building and ranking phase, because the level of SEO expertise you have to make this work isn't that high. Now, the next side hustle is specialized copywriting. And I'm not talking about general content writing for blogs. I'm talking about high-value, conversion-focused copy for sales pages, email sequences, VSL scripts, launch campaigns, Facebook ad copy, or Amazon product listings. And top copywriters easily command $200 to $500 per hour, or they even use value-based pricing that works out to even higher hourly rates. For example, a sales page might pay $5,000 to $10,000 and take 15 to 30 hours to complete, resulting in an hourly rate of $300 to $600. Email sequences might pay $3,000 to $8,000 for 10 emails, taking 10 to 20 hours to write, resulting in $300 to $800 per hour. Now, a friend of mine, Taylor, specializes in email sequences for course creators, and she charges $5,000 for a 10 email launch sequence that typically takes her about 12 hours to complete. So that's over $400 per hour. Now, she also connects all the tech on the back end as well, and she consults them on how to actually get data from these email sequences. Now, the key to commanding these rates is specializing in a specific type of copy, and ideally specializing in a specific industry as well, then becoming known for getting results, building a portfolio of successful case studies, and targeting clients who understand the value of good copy. Now, while you do need strong writing skills, you don't need decades of experience. Many of the highest paid copywriters have been doing it for just a few years, but have focused intensely on a profitable niche. And the best way to focus on a niche is simply to think, what problems have you solved in the past, or what do you spend a lot of time consuming content in, right? So if you spend a ton of time on Twitter or X, for instance, likely you would be really good at making copy for Twitter and X. Next is going to be social media account management. And like many side hustles on this list, the key is specialization and results. And what I'm talking about here is completely taking over and growing social media accounts for businesses or personal brands, typically focusing on just one platform that you've mastered, like TikTok, Instagram, or LinkedIn. And top social media managers charge $3,000 to $8,000 per month per client, and they typically spend 5 to 10 hours per month on each account once systems are established. So that's $300 to $1,600 per hour. And my student Lisa specializes in TikTok management for e-commerce brands, and she charges $4,500 per month per client, and she manages 5 different accounts, and she only spends around 25 hours per week total, and that's approximately $400 per hour. And the key here is delivering measurable results, aka followers, engagement, leads, and sales, not just posting content. And you can leverage AI tools for content ideation and creation, trending audio identification, and analytics, making this far more efficient than it was even a few years ago. So to succeed in this space, master one platform deeply, preferably also only serve certain niches, then develop a repeatable system for content creation and growth, track and report clear metrics, and target industries that benefit most from social media. Now, the startup costs are minimal, and the demand continues to grow as businesses realize social media requires specialized expertise, not just assigning it to an intern. And if you're the type of person who spends a lot of time on social media, then this is going to be perfect for you. And as a side note, we actually place social media managers into different various clients' YouTube channels. And this is something that clients ask us for all the time. So there's definitely a lot of demand for this. All right, the next side hustle is AI agent development. Now, this is the newest entry on the list, and this is one that almost nobody is talking about yet. AI agents are essentially customized AI assistants designed to perform specific tasks for businesses. And they're built on top of existing AI models like GPT-4 or Claude, but with specialized knowledge bases, custom instructions, and specific workflows. So here's a few examples. Customer service AI agents, sales qualification AI agents, content creation AI agents, HR policy AI agents, and medical triage AI agents. Now, as an AI agent developer, you create these custom agents for businesses, helping them automate specific processes without needing to hire full-time development teams. And the rates right now are absolutely insane for this because demand far outstrips supply. Custom AI agents typically sell for $5,000 to $20,000 depending on complexity, with ongoing maintenance contracts of $1,000 to $3,000 per month. And creating a custom AI agent might take 20 to 40 hours, resulting in an hourly rate of $250 to $1,000 an hour. And this is so hot right now, right? My student Michael, for instance, developed a series of AI agents for a law firm to handle client intake, document review, and case classification. And he charged $18,000 for the initial development, which is about 40 hours of work, and now receives $2,500 per month for maintenance and updates, which is about 5 hours of work monthly. So that's $450 an hour for development and $500 per hour for ongoing work. Absolutely insane. And the beauty of this side hustle is that you don't need deep coding skills. You need to understand how to effectively prompt and instruct AI models, basic workflow design, and the specific business process that you're automating. And this field is so new that there's virtually no competition, and businesses are scrambling to implement AI solutions before their competitors. And I expect this to be one of the highest paying side hustles for at least the next 2 to 3 years until the market matures. So now that we've covered these 15 high paying side hustles, you might be wondering which one is right for you. Well, here are 4 factors to consider. First, leverage your existing skills and experience. The fastest path to $100+ per hour is building on what you already know. Second, consider your available time and schedule. Some of these side hustles require consistent weekly time, while others are more project-based. Third, think about your financial situation. Some options require upfront investment, while others can be started with virtually no capital. And finally, consider your long-term goals. Are you looking to eventually quit your job? Are you building towards a bigger business? Or you just want to make some extra cash on the side while you keep your career? The side hustle that aligns with your skills, schedule, financial situation, and goals is the one that you're most likely to succeed with. Now, if you're serious about building a high-paying side hustle, I want to invite you to book a call with me to discuss my Content Growth Engine program, because there is no better way to market your products and services than to build a hybrid personal brand and start a YouTube channel talking about them. Even just getting a couple hundred views per video, if you choose the right niche, you can start consistently booking clients, and you can position yourself as the go-to authority in your niche. And at this point, we've had hundreds of clients that have been able to do just this. YouTube is wide open, and it is amazing for getting clients and making money. Now, I only have capacity to work with a limited number of students at a time to ensure everyone gets the attention that they need. So if you're interested, click the link in the description to apply to work with me and book a call, and we'll discuss if it's the right fit for you. And whether you join my program or not, I hope this video has opened your eyes to the incredible opportunities that exist right now for high-paying side hustles. The economy is changing rapidly, and the older old advice of get a stable job and climb the corporate ladder just doesn't cut it anymore. The real financial freedom comes from controlling your own income streams. And the side hustles that I've shared today aren't get-rich-quick schemes or pipe dreams. They're real business models that real people, many of them my students, are using right now to earn $100, $200, even $500 plus per hour. And the key is to start. Pick one that aligns with your skills and interests and take the first step this week. And a year from now, you could be in a completely different financial situation. And check out this other video on side hustles that went viral. People absolutely loved it, to see other options that you can do.